Hi, my name is Doreen. I'm the Chief Executive of TaFtc, known as the Textile and Fashion Industry Training Center. Our center is established in 1983, and we come a long way because we train from the sewing operators all the way to professional positions such as merchandisers, designers, sourcing managers. But over the years, we have also worked with, besides the industry, we work very closely with the universities as well. So our diploma is accredited by 9 universities all over the world, from US to France, Italy, even to Sri Lanka as well. We work very closely with the industry players. So most of the garment manufacturers, the luxury brands, and the startup entrepreneurs, they work closely with us to gain new skills. So one of the hottest skills right now is virtual prototyping. We have virtual prototyping since year 2009 because in year 2000, I felt we were doing a research on body sizing. So the first country that did body sizing survey using body scanning is UK. But through that body scanning project, I found companies that were providing software for making virtual garments. So you don't have to make a real garment to fit the mannequin. You make a virtual garment which actually replicate very closely to the real garment, so you can make adjustments and all that. So there's a lot of savings in terms of lead time as well as in terms of remake. As you know, our industry is, in terms of sustainability, is always pretty low because of all the fast fashion that we create and a lot of trash produced. Virtual prototyping is used by brands such as Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, as well as H&M. I'm a strong believer of digitalization. When I first watched the movie Ready Player One, I thought, wow, that'd be great if one day we be able to do that, so that you can meet your friends anywhere virtually, and imagine you can learn anywhere. You don't have to go to a classroom, and you can meet all your friends online. When we first looked at virtual prototyping, that was in year 2000, I was also very hopeful that one day we will have a virtual avatar of ourselves so that we can go to any virtual store and buy clothes. I think the reality is a bit slow to adopt, but it might happen soon as because the convergence of all this technology coming together is going to be a reality. Talking about training in textile and fashion, in fact, when the lockdown came in, I was actually amazed how fast we switched to digital online training using Zoom. And many things that I thought was not possible because, for example, sewing. Who would have thought that you can teach online sewing? We actually send machines to our students and they were able to sew, draft and sew online. And I think they are able to do that because in the past, you have to look at the teacher sew and you crowd around the teacher. But because of COVID, you can't crowd around a teacher. But imagine your teacher is taking his or her camera, zooming to the needle point, and you can actually see how it's being sewn. And if you miss it, just play it again and again. So you learn that, in fact, it's much better. And I also realized that they are able to produce the end results, which is a finished top and a skirt for our basic drafting and sewing, because they have the machine at home. So they can sew and draft, sew anytime they want to, versus if they have to learn in school, our industrial sewing machines are not available to them 24/7. So they will have to wait for availability of the machine before they can actually sew. So I see a lot of benefits in terms of learning at home using digital tools. And also for e-learning, I also thought that is really good, although some people may not like that. But again, for the slow learners, you can repeat many, many times until you get it right. And because you don't have to make appointment with the teachers to come to the school, you can make appointment anytime with the teachers. And it's just a Zoom away. So you can show things to the teacher and so forth. Even for myself, I actually conducted a textile class. So imagine a textile class online. It must be pretty difficult. And I also teach them how to remove stains. So we have to prepare all the textile swatches as well as the stain swatch and send to our students way ahead. And through Zoom, I realized that I can tell them what I'm seeing by zooming into the swatch, the fabric, and you can see the texture very clearly. And then we can analyze the fabric this way. Same for stain remover. They used to crowd around me and try to see how I remove the stain. But right now, I pre-recorded it, and then I just play it when I'm having a Zoom session. So I don't have to wash it 10,000 times. Imagine if I run the class 10,000 times, I have to wash the swatch 10,000 times, right? But now I record it well, and if I think that it's not good enough, I can re-record again, and then I play online. And when a student asks me the same thing, instead of just telling them, I can stop the video and replay again and let them see how it looks like. So I think there's a lot of benefits, and while I teach the subject, I'm creating a lot of digital content at the same time, which means it will help me to put my content online as a form of e-learning. I think that COVID is actually a accelerator for digitalization. So a lot of fears. One of the things that I did, I think my company did right, is that we have a group of young people. About half of my company are below 30. And when we switch online, I know that the trainers asking, how do I do this? How do I do that? So I told my young people, I said, you're baptized by fire. And now I need to go out and be a tech angel to my trainers. Do whatever it takes for you to help them teach online. So we send them microphone stands, we send them mics, we send them anything they want. And at that time, we were out of this, video stand. And one day, I found my son having a microphone stand, which I could use with my rubber, elastic and all that, and strap my phone to it, and it works. And then we decided, hey, nobody buys microphone stand. We bought like 20 of them, and we sent out to all my trainers. And it's interesting also because when he helped me send out, some of the trainers said, oh, it doesn't have a holder. And I said, be innovative. And the young ones actually send messages to me and showing them taking elastic, taking selfie stick to hold it. So anyone can be innovative. You don't need a step-by-step instructions. When I launched digital course notes, I got a lot of pushback from the students. And also my staff told me that students are not happy and they insist that they want printed course notes. So they kind of like put a very high price for printed course notes, like $30 per note, like one set of notes for one subject. And my staff within a week or two collected like, I don't know, $2,000. I was shocked. I created a video I sent to my staff to tell my students, I don't want your money, take it back. Please try to use the digital course notes. It's actually an app that we use. I realized that most learners always want to have a step-by-step instructions, but in fact, I have a very interesting story to share. In the social media marketing class, some students made a complaint and said that we asked the teacher something and the teacher said, Google it. If we need to Google it, then we don't need to ask her. But in social media marketing, you really need to Google a lot of things yourself, and find how to create I would say a blog or a social media using Facebook or something like that. And I think that that's the key, that you have to be able to find your way out rather than step-by-step instructions. TaFtc has an international arm called TaFtc International. So our customers are in Cambodia. We have a project in Cambodia with CGTI, Cambodia Government Training Institute. So we provided all the materials to them, but that was more face-to-face. So right now, we're also working with them to use our e-learning modules and see whether we can do Zoom classes. We also have project in Myanmar, but because there's a lockdown, so they were not able to do any digital collaborations. But interestingly, our projects with United Nations brought us to Madagascar, Morocco, Tunisia, and also to Jordan and Egypt. But we didn't travel there. It's all through Zoom. So Zoom actually opened up even more opportunities for us. And I'm also working on a project where, because some of the countries are French speaking, so there need to be translation. I don't speak French, so we have to go through, I'll speak English and someone translate. But if you are on Zoom, it's going to be really tiring. So now we are working on a pre-recording session where you look at me, I'm speaking, but French words come out of my mouth. So I thought that was really interesting too. So I love all these new technologies, and I believe that one day I will be able to make an AI version of myself, and I can speak any language then. I think that it doesn't matter whether it's a creative industry or, I think that if we rethink, we will be able to do it digitally. So it's just, have to just think out of the box. And when it's a push thing like COVID, I found my trainers become very, very creative. And myself, I'm a trainer, so I also become really creative, doing all kinds of things. And there's always new things coming out. I go, oh, how come I never think of that? Yeah, so have fun. For our industry, major disruption, but it's not new. Online shopping has been around for 20 years, but everyone always say, oh, it's different, it's different. You can shop online because the risk is very low. If you find that something don't fit you, most of the online retailers will be happy to take it back. So I remember in the early days of Lazada, they were saying that there are quite a lot of returns. But so how do we reduce these returns? That's something that a retailer would have to think through. Maybe you have the better fit, or maybe a virtual avatar to do it. I know that there were cases where Zozo Suits tried to replace this fit thing. So these are the things that you have to look, the retailers have to look into it. It's a different way of selling to your customer. And I think that everyone has to try not to think that, oh, this is brick and mortar and this is online. It's two different things. I think the two worlds has merged. So I was in one of the seminars recently as a guest speaker. I was telling the designer who said that the experience online and the experience face-to-face is different. It's hard to replace each other. My challenge is, can we make it integrated so that if you are online shopping with me, I know it when you come into on-site, I know that you are who you said you are and you have bought XX things from me online. And if you bought something on-site with me, I will know that you have bought XX thing on-site with me when you're online. So this is something that I think that is really important. And for the manufacturing part, there's also disruption, but I would say the actual sewing and drafting is still not disrupted. But I think that the prototyping of it, that means making samples, can change because you can actually make a virtual garment. And once the virtual garment is done, you can make a actual garment using the patterns from the virtual garment. So Jack Ma of Alibaba has already announced that he has a secret project, I think it's probably 3 years ago, where they actually have a factory and they run it in a very lean manner with a lot of automation and digitalization. And that's why whether you are a manufacturer, a textile supplier, or anyone in the textile industry, just rethink the way you are doing things. And I know it's very challenging because some of my friends who are factory owners, they send their staff who are doing prototyping to our school. They are very good drafter and sewer, but to make a virtual garment is different from making a real garment. So the skill sets are quite different. It's very challenging. But so all of us have to say, don't think about the past and just think of the future and watch more sci-fi movies. That will help you dream better. So it's like someone asked me, I want to do a master in fashion. I said, no, why don't you do a master in technology and focus on fashion? So like sustainability, we also have a course on sustainability, but it's focused on fashion. So I know that United Nations 17 SDGs, we, even at a school level, we try our best to meet that. We don't have printed course notes, we use digital course notes. So as much as we can, we try to reduce our impact on the environment. And as for the textile and fashion industry, there are also companies out there who is trying to reduce the impact. For example, denim wash. Denim finishing is actually very harmful to the environment because the sandblasting, it can be carcinogenic for the person doing the sandblasting. But now you can replace with laser. Instead of using chemicals and water to wash down a pair of jeans, you use air as well, like maybe 1 cup of water to wash down a pair of jeans. This company is Ginologia in Spain, and we work with them. We actually have sent students there to be trained, and then after that, they join the industry. I think one of them is in Vietnam, and one is in China. I think there's a lot of help from the government. It's really up to the individual to find where do they want to move to next. I think the challenge is more for the 40 years old and above, because they might already have a career that in doing certain things and it's changed. And how are they going to pivot their way out? I give an example, like in the fashion industry, you may have a very seasoned sales manager or someone who is in charge of the shop. I would have expected most of them be able to use a laptop, but I have come across personally where the student is from the industry, was not able to use the laptop, and that surprised me, because I thought that everyone should know how to do it. So my advice to everyone is that learn everything that needs to be digitalized, from your phone, from your tablet, from your laptop, so that, because that is the way going forward. I now, in my office, there's no physical form, all right? I don't use any physical form right now. In fact, this is a real story too. I bought an old Ricoh machine, and Ricoh wants me to sign manually and find a rubber stamp. I have a rubber stamp, but it's a digital rubber stamp. So I have to come back to the office to find a rubber stamp, stamp it, and send them by post. So, so I can't imagine how many other companies out there are doing things like that. Have they not changed? So that's something that surprised me. I think everyone is open to learning to a certain degree, but I think it's also very challenging for someone. Let's say you are 40 years old, 41, and you've got a senior position in, I don't know, maybe sourcing, and suddenly it's being disrupted. So what can you do? And you realize that you might need to have certain tools, or even change a new job, where you require to have programming skills, or being able to use Google Sheet and link up things. A lot of things that you could have to learn. But the thing is that when you are new in that, my question is whether the companies are willing to pay you for your past experience. So that's the adjustment that I think is most difficult. The project that we are working on right now will be able to give you guidance and advice on a career map, and you can do micro learning. You can learn a lot on your own. I think most important is don't wait for someone to tell you what's next. You really have to figure out yourself. I have also gone through adjustment when I was 32 years old. I was a high flyer industry, and I decided I want to slow down and I want to do something different. So I entered the education sector, and I suffered a 50% pay cut. But life goes on, and you are able to pivot, because if you earn less, then you just adjust your lifestyle accordingly. So I know how it feels. It's not easy, it's painful, but I'm a survivor of that, and I never knew that one day I will be able to run and own a fashion school. So come what may, just embrace the change and tell yourself, what can you do? Maybe the government can help by giving internship allowance for someone in their 40s, because if I go through another program and I come and enter the market ground zero, then maybe come in as an intern, reduce the cost for the company, but at least the person have a chance to get started again.